Well, welcome, June 30. Here we are again. I was about to say we're about to enter into some unfamiliar times. It feels like I said that again. Well, March 2020 was the start of the pandemic, challenging and unfamiliar times, and here we are, June 2022, with a couple of rate increases predicted by myself, already under our belt, and a number coming our way. So. Understandably, there's a fair bit of concern.
Yep.
Read the papers. The world might be about to cave in. I don't think it's going to be that bad, but there's no doubt that there's going to be some challenges ahead. I think it's really important that we all just keep in the back of our mind, which isn't easy when lettuce is costing $10. But just remember, the last 3 years, it hasn't been normal, right? And so interest rates haven't been normal as well too. And what we're going to see is a sort of a retrace back to more normal rates, because we're starting to get back to more normal times. That, I understand, might not be the feeling for especially a lot of businesses that are in particular industries, hospitality, etc. They've been through no one coming into their joints. Now they've opened back up. They can't find anyone to employ. Yep. The ones that want to employ want a lot of dollars. I get it. And now rising interest rates might feel like it's challenging, but rates are going up because times are going to be, or are, better than what they have been before. I'm really confident our clients are well prepared. Like at the start of the pandemic and through the pandemic, most of our clients found themselves in really strong, or relatively I should say, strong financial positions to weather that period of time. And I think the majority of us will be right through this period as well too. And I say that because as a business, we've always focused on not the maximum amount we can get someone. We've always had our starting point is what's the maximum amount somebody felt comfortable repaying in good times and also not so good times. So I think that gives me at least a little bit of comfort that most of our clients will be able to navigate their way through these increasing interest rates. Talking about increasing interest rates, how about you tell us a little bit more about what you believe are going to be the genuine impact of those?
It's exacerbated by the fact that we also have rising inflation at the same time. So anybody that's bought groceries, petrol, power, the lettuce, as you touched on before, as the new Bitcoin, prices are going through the roof, and it feels like that at the moment. And that combined with rising interest rates can feel like there's a lot of pressure on the household budget. So the first major impact is that for the first time in a long time, we're going to have to, I suppose, really analyse and look at what the household budget is and make sure that we curb some spending in some areas that we need to. The second point largely is around savings. So during the pandemic, it was well known that savings increased across households because we couldn't do anything, we couldn't go anywhere. So savings increased, and I think what we'll find over the next couple of years is that those savings will be a buffer that will enable us to actually absorb some of the interest costs, and spending increases, or more importantly, the cost of goods and services increase that we have to spend money on. Financial stress. If you look at any media at the moment, they're talking about the financial strain that is expected to come across Australians. Now that is real, and that is real for a number of people, but it doesn't have to be real for everybody. And what we're saying is that by getting on the front foot, if you identify yourself, within family and friends, that they just might need somebody to talk to, particularly in their financial circumstance, we strongly encourage them to reach out to us. We can have a chat, because sometimes just by knowing your numbers and just by knowing that it isn't as bad as you think it is can actually alleviate a range of that, the anxious thoughts you might have around what is coming and what the future might hold. And finally, property prices. So we've already seen the impact on property prices with interest rates increasing. That has a lot to do with consumer confidence, but equally has a lot to do with demand. With people just holding back, waiting to see what actually happens over the next period of time, demand will reduce, which we would expect would continue to have a little bit of downward pressure on property prices, but it's not necessarily the 20-30% property reduction or price reduction they expect. That might be in some areas, not necessarily in all.
It'll depend on the property, depend on the area.
Absolutely. So what might lessen the blow of these rising costs? Firstly, real wage growth is one thing that we're starting to see at the moment. Anyone that's employing staff, us included, is seeing pressure on wage growth.
Significant
particularly end of year, annual performance reviews. And equally, anyone that's trying to employ people, we're seeing the skilled staff shortage that everybody's experiencing, which is putting real pressure on wage growth as well. So provided wage growth exceeds or is equal to the inflation rate, we're still in front. If it's behind, we're going backwards. So hopefully that does lessen the blow for a number of us. And finally, as we said, some of our savings that we've been able to build up over a period of time, that will lessen the blow if you do have those savings in place.
Yep.
So talking about moving forward, what's important, and more importantly, what can people do
our equity positions will reduce over the next 12 to 24 months. Don't stress about it, especially first home buyers that might have just got into the market. It's part of a normal cycle. Yep, okay, you might have debt that's close to the value of your own home. That will actually put you in an understanding, and being through this time, might not feel it at the end of the day, will give you a better appreciation for cycles and markets. Make sure you stay on top of your repayments. Keep buffers of cash where you can, and you're going to be okay. For those of us that have had properties for a longer period of time, that have seen more equity that exists within their homes, I suggest you strongly do what a lot of our savvy, smart, experienced investors are doing. Go and get access to that equity. Go and get access to that equity now, so that you've got cash reserves to be able to grab the opportunities that exist over the next 12 to 24 months.
And there will be opportunities that present.
There's going to be plenty of opportunities. You need to be ready to go, right? And you might not sit there and think, well, why would I jump into the market now? Some will still sit there and say it's a good time. But at some point, right, if you're looking to act and you're looking to, now's the time to be preparing yourself, because the 100 grand of equity that you got in your property now, it won't be 100 grand in 12 months' time. So you won't be in a stronger position. Understand that new lending is going to be slower. Banks make money from lending. So if they're not lending as much, the competition for the new lending that there is will be fierce. So do understand that there'll still be competitive rates on offer, relatively speaking, and predominantly for principal and interest sort of owner-occupied clients, which is obviously where a lot of the banks and lenders want to, the clients that they want to service. Understand that refinancing is going to be a challenge. If your borrowing capacity was 600 grand 12 months ago, it won't be that now, and it will be even less in the future. That as well will feed into sort of a dampening of property prices, I'd expect. Understand that when it comes to lending, interest-only lending, if you've got interest-only lending or low-doc lending, they're more likely to cop interest rate increases above what the standard cash rates are. Yep. Banks will, or lenders will, look to increase those due for a number of different reasons, but predominantly it's not as sensitive as increasing someone's home loan, right? So do expect that to happen across the board. And finally, I suppose, just to our investors, we've got plenty of investors, some with small portfolios, some with really large ones. Get on the front foot. If you've got an interest-only period that's expiring in the next 12 to 24 months, we do our standard check-ins, but get on the front foot and start planning now. Because as your interest-only loan comes off the P&I, you need to understand the pros and cons of allowing that to happen, or whether looking at a fresh interest-only period might be more suitable. And it's not one size fits all there. So that's my wrap-up of what I think people need to understand and do.
The biggest thing we're proud of is the number of people we've been able to help, and for us it was a record year this year, and to have you guys, our clients, trust us with your family and friends to provide guidance and advice is valued by us. We really appreciate it, and we couldn't do it without you. And next year we want to help more people. Yep. And we can't do it without you guys. So whether it's family, friends, work colleagues, whether they're first home buyers who they're uncertain about what this we just discussed means for them, whether they're constructing or building, or whether they're even uncertain about whether it's an environment they want to buy their first home in, they've got to reach out and have a chat to us. Whether it's investors, you've got multiple properties within your portfolio, and your exposure to raising interest rates are higher, and you're uncertain or you're unclear on what that means for you, as we said, get on the front foot and have a chat to us so that we can discuss strategies and plans to sort of, I suppose, lessen that burden. And finally, if you're like myself and you're discussing whether you upgrade your current home, you move for the ever-expanding family, but once again aren't certain what that means for you.
Are you having more kids?
No more kids. Oh. No more kids. Just in-laws. So we strongly encourage you to sort of, like you've always done, support us and get them to reach out. There'll be, if you can click on the link, go to our website. You can refer. You can get people in contact via the links on the website. There's a reward for doing that, but we understand that's not the reason you do it. You do it because you care about your family and friends, and hopefully you trust the advice and guidance that we can provide them. So once again, thanks for your support. Hopefully we can continue to help more people next year. We're always here. Please reach out if you've got any questions or concerns about the environment we're in at the moment. We're here to help. Thanks again, guys.